Ace is Wild, Homecoming, Episode 10.
I'm still reeling from that last episode, y'all, and I can't wait to see Belle back in the arms of Chase where she belongs.
After staring at the ridgeline for some time, Chase realized there was no sense in going to the lake now. Instead, he set his mind on readying the house for his incoming company. Starting a bonfire on the corner of his land, he and Red Sky dragged the bodies over and cleared the house of McGregor's men's belongings. The house sat a mess, strewn about with liquor bottles and ashtrays. Some things they repurposed, like the cots, but most of the stuff needed to go to the burn pile. Once the heavy lifting was done, Red Sky headed back into town to get Nessie while Chase finished tidying up. After throwing the last of the junk on the burn pile, Chase turned around to see familiar figures coming over the horizon. Honey reached the gate first, whimpering with excitement to see her master. The moment the gate opened, Honey came flying, nearly jumping into Chase's arms. Giving her a good pet, he watched as Belle, Tatsuo, and Jack led their horses through the gate. Belle and Jack gave Chase a warm embrace, while Tatsuo rushed inside without as much as a hello.
Chance isn't in there.
She knows. She didn't see him from the ridge.
She doesn't want to know where he is?
She's going through some things. We both are.
Belle shared, a little uncomfortable at the look Chase shot her. To distract from the concern on his face, she continued,
Best leave her alone for the time being.
Okay.
Chase said, turning his attention to the boy.
What's your burning?
Just some garbage. Yard waste and such.
Can I help?
Not now, Jack. How about you help with these horses? They look like they need some tending to. There's a hitching post around the side there. Should be some water in the trough and hopefully some hay around. You handle that?
Chase needed to keep the boy from learning the fire contained more in it than just garbage.
Yes, sir. For a quarter, I can handle anything.
Jack held his hand out now.
I'm just kidding, Chase.
Grabbing the reins, he walked the first horse around to the side of the house. Smirking, Chase remembered the quarter he gave him for a shoe shine.
So, where is Chance?
Belle asked, gathering her belongings to bring inside.
Let's just say, after the saloon, he went his own way. I'm not sure when or if he'll be back, but he knows where we are if he reckons.
Oh, poor Tatsuo.
She commented, thinking of Tatsuo's fragile state of mind.
Yeah, and Jack.
Yeah.
Heading back into the house, Belle inquired into the ordeal with the Indians, particularly the large man that stayed behind. Chase told her of Red Sky, the plan they hatched, and that he would be returning soon with Nessie and supplies. Thanking her for saving his life, he let her know how impressive the shot was. Chase explained that things with McGregor and his men may be far from over, but he intended to stay and keep his home. Belle and Tatsuo agreed to stay as well. Jack particularly liked the place, asking often when his dad would get there. He spent a lot of time playing with Honey too, still trying to get her to drop the stick. Tatsuo kept to herself a lot. After a couple of days, Chase told her what happened between him and Chance. She seemed to hold no ill will on the matter, spending most of her time helping with house chores and watching the horizon. Red Sky took a liking to Tatsuo, and she enjoyed his company as well. They even made a scarecrow out of the henchman's outfit that Tatsuo took from the wagon as a warning to any of McGregor's men that dare set foot on the place. Tatsuo never really picked up that Red Sky had romantic intent, but Chase and Belle gathered as much. Always respectful of her marriage, though, he secretly wished she would move on, maybe finding comfort elsewhere, maybe with a certain Comanche. Days passed and everything continued oddly quiet. Nobody knew when or if McGregor would try to take back the house. Red Sky set up camp on the butte, preferring that to staying in the house. From there he kept watch, ready to signal if anything seemed amidst. Chase or Tatsuo would bring him food and visit from time to time, and he'd drop in on the ranch when feeling lonely. Belle replaced the sign at the gate with Chase and Friends. House chores, ranching, and harmonica tunes replaced adventure and everyday life, fell into seeming normalcy once more, or at least on the surface. In truth, Everyone kept secrets. Chase and Red Sky had not let go of hopes to take on McGregor, covertly discussing various degrees of his possible demise. The girls never spoke about their night at the lake, though it haunted them. Instead, they dove into the distraction of homemaking. Even Jack hid his true feelings while taking up his chores and playing with Honey. His mind never wavered from missing Chance, the man he came to know as Dad, a dad who was in the middle of his escapades. After brushing off his noggin knocking, Chance decided it was probably best to give Chase some space. He wasn't quite ready to see Tatsuo face to face either. She still stayed pretty upset about the way he acted at the saloon, thinking to himself,
"Yeah, it would be best to lay low for a while. I'll go meet the others in Durnville when they've cooled down."
Already en route for Dry Creek, Chance decided to push on. Dry Creek certainly was a different type of town, named not for a dried-up creek bed. In fact, it had a rather large creek that ran alongside the road into and through town. It was, however, a dry community, meaning they did not allow alcohol or gambling or dancing or, well, a lot of things really. The area remained mostly inhabited by people of the Mennonite faith. While being a rather conservative place, Chance knew Dry Creek had its transgressions if one knew where to look. And he, of course, did. Coming into town, he found mostly women and children on the street. The women and girls wore long cotton dresses with little white caps. The boys mostly wore black trousers and white button shirts. At this time of day, most of the men worked out in the fields. Gathering some odd looks as Chance rode into town, he made way for the smokehouse. You could smell the oak burning from blocks away. Hitching up outside the half-wood, half-tin building, Chance walked past the sign reading, "Meat Processing and Smokehouse," and on inside.
"Mr. Young, it's been quite some time. What brings you in?"
asked the hefty red-headed man, slicing meat behind the counter.
"I'm cutting up some pork chops. How many can I get you?"
"Come on, Devin. You know what brings me in."
Fancy a cut of beef today. A good chuck roast, maybe."
The butcher would not give up.
"You gonna make me say it, aren't you? Ain't we friends anymore?"
"How about you humor me?"
"I'd like the Wiggly Piggly pork butt special."
Devin grinned with boyish delight.
"Well, that wasn't so hard, was it? Right this way, my good man."
Wiping his bloody hands on his white apron, Devin walked Chance through the storeroom, sliding back a shelf of various goods that led to a hidden den.
"Hi, now, everybody, look at what the cat drug in."
Entering the speakeasy, Chance saw 3 familiar faces sitting around the poker table. Boudreaux, the Cajun who ran the joint, Charlie, the corn farming bootlegger, and Scotty. Scotty preferred potatoes for making his hooch. The room was all rough sawn wood, colored with age, and the sweet smell of corn mash filled the air.
"Come on and join us for a game,"
Boudreaux said, gesturing for Chance to sit.
"Mr. Smith, set my man up a drink."
Glancing sideways, there sat Mr. Smith, also a bootlegger. He was up in the years and had a long gray beard, straw hat, and coveralls.
"I got some shine in the back, straight off the still. Reckon you can handle it."
"I could handle it before I could walk. Bring it on out here."
Chance's head still rang from the previous night's binge, and his jaw didn't feel much better. He figured this was just what he needed. Throwing back the crystal clear liquid, he gave a hoot and a holler.
"Whew! That's pure as them Mennonite out front. Pour me another."
Feeling the shine burn down his gullet, he sat down for a game. At home in the speakeasy den, Chance enjoyed the smell of whiskey mash, steeping in copper pots, mixing with the scent of his favorite cigars. This stayed much more his speed. He had fun at the Diamond Saloon, but this was comfort. There were no false airs or fancy platitudes. It was just good salt of the Earth people dueling in wisecracks, having fun. He would have been happy to keep on drinking and betting for days. But the others started having their fill of Chance's lucky streak. After everyone else dropped out, Chance raked in the pot, making his way best he could over to Mr. Smith.
"How about a jug of that shine?"
"Oh, you like it that much, do you? That'll be $3.
$3? That's robbery, that dollars."
he said, wagging his finger in Mr. Smith's face.
Well, you ain't exactly in Memphis, Chance.
Boudreaux called from the table.
Fine. $03. Here you be.
Then, grabbing the bottle with one hand, Chance reached into his pocket with the other to pull out some money. Only he pulled out more than cash.
Jake!
Charlie yelled as he watched the cards fall from Chance's pocket.
Stop him!
Called Boudreaux, as Chance bolted for the door, jug in hand. Slamming the door to the speakeasy, Chance pulled down a stack of goods to block it. Devin, having heard Boudreaux's call, jumped in front of the main entrance. Standing there in his bloodied white apron, holding a cleaver, he growled,
Don't even think about it.
but Chance remained stupefied from the drink. He tried to get by Devin, who raised his cleaver and swung. Like a drunken ballerina, Chance dodged and danced out the way. Circling the room, Chance ducked behind counters and chairs, avoiding the butcher. Having enough of the cat and mouse game, Devin charged. With the bottle in his offhand, Chance drew his pistol with his right, shooting the butcher square in the gut. Stumbling out the front door, Chance caught stares as the gunshot drew the attention of the women and children walking the street. Stumbling more, he made his way to his horse. Clutching the bottle, he holstered his pistol and attempted to mount it. The women gasped and tried to shield their children's eyes when he fell. The little boys laughed. After 2 more failed attempts at climbing onto his mare, Chance managed to ride out of town, slouching over, barely hanging on to anything but his moonshine. Somewhere down the road, he succeeded in gracefully falling off his nag to blackout by the creek. When he woke up, he didn't know how long he'd been out. Head pounding, he slightly remembered shooting the butcher, but it seemed more like a bad dream, a dream that needed shaking off.
Just a swig to get rid of this headache.
And off he went. Traveling till nightfall, Chance was half in the bag before he reached the main road back to Durnville. It didn't follow the route the others took. Having passed all the way through Dry Creek, he found himself back on the road he and Chase first traveled, back before they were friends. Chance had visions of Chase marching him in his underwear. He also remembered the bear and Honey always growling.
Friends.
But it wasn't Chase that ate at him. He couldn't shake the image of a gut-shot butcher.
It wasn't cold-blooded murder. It was self-defense.
On the other hand, it was his own actions that led to the need for self-defense. The butcher lay dead because of him, and he was angry at himself. However, the booze helped his mind play tricks, assisting in pointing his demons anywhere but inward, fading in and out. Chance had no idea how long he'd been on the road. Consumed with drink and anger, in his mind, he only heard 2 things.
They're better off without you. West of town, quarters day ride. Set up camp at the lake and wait.
Passing through Durnville, the jug of shine grew heavy. But there was no way he'd let it go, needing it to fuel his fire for confronting Chase. Heading west, a midday rain set in as Chance approached the lake. Running on empty, he saw buzzards circling overhead.
I'm not dead yet.
Before witnessing a mostly picked-over carcass under a tree.
Not like that, man.
Meandering around the lake in the drizzling rain, Chance looked for any sign of the others. Then, giving up, he plopped down on the lakeshore to swig his last swig. Throwing the empty jug into the lake, he fell over onto his side and passed out. Hours later, he opened his eyes. The rain had stopped and the sun set on the horizon over the water. Finally, he was a little soberer, but that was something he looked to remedy. Not remembering what happened to the jug of moonshine, Chance began to look around when something else caught his eye. Making his way over to the object, he reached down and picked up a small booklet. When he opened it, his world collapsed. Trinkets from home, sketches of him and Jack, soaked, ripped, falling apart, like his life. Then and there, a grown man teared up and cried well into the night. Waking up the next morning, Chance was finally fully lucid. He clutched Tatsuo's sketchpad while going to his horse, wandering around the lake. After tucking the drawings into his saddlebag, he set to skipping stones. in the same place his son had days earlier. Settling back into reality, he became determined to find his family. Mounting up, he turned for Durnville. Passing the body under the tree, another vision struck. He envisioned the dead butcher, and it finally sunk in that he killed the man. Brushing away the thought, Chance tried to distract himself by focusing on the moment. Who's this man under the tree? What happened here? Why was Tatsuo's sketchpad laying by the river? Where is everyone? Was there a fight? The distraction backfired, and now he felt terrified. A flurry of possibilities shot through his mind. Panic-stricken and desperate, Chance Young made a promise.
Please, God, let Tetsuo and Jack be safe, and I swear, I'll never drink or gamble again.
Still horrified by the thoughts of what might have been, Chance made his way back towards Durnville. Luckily, just short of town, he found peace of mind, a sign, Chase and friends, and sure enough, in the distance, there they were. Jack played with Honey, Tatsuo, and an Indian tended horses. Chase was nowhere to be seen, but that didn't matter as much as his family being safe. Chance wasn't quite ready to see him yet anyway. Counting his blessing, Chance continued without notice. He was determined to set some things right before reuniting with his family and friends. First and foremost, he had to get out of his boozy, smelling, soaked rags. After hitching his horse, he walked into Mr. Watts to buy some clean clothes. Then, heading over to Mr. Jameson's, he got a cut and a shave. Now looking dapper, walking out the door, he caught the eye of a sullen lass, wearing a dirty shift, crossing from the candy store to the saloon.
You looking for a good time, mister?
No, ma'am, I'm not.
Tossing her the rest of his ill-gotten coin purse. Glancing inside at the coin, she spun on her heel, heading straight back for the candy shop. After inquiring around town about mining work, Chance headed in the direction of the coal mine. Finding the railroad tracks, he knew he was on the right path. Eventually, he passed the water tower where the steam engine filled up. Then, making his way across a clearing, he hid his horse in the trees to continue on foot. From a distance, he watched the broken men hauling coal. Listening to the familiar sounds of pickaxes, squealing cartwheels, chains, and clangs, he remembered back to when mining was a noble profession in these parts, back before McGregor and his opium. Chance watched until nightfall, when most of the men went home before making his move. Creeping through the dark, he approached the mine's entrance where two guards stood watch. Distracting them with a rock, he ducked inside. The cavern remained dark, cold, and creepy, especially as the wind made ghostly wails as it blew across its entrance. Finding a kerosene lamp, Chance snuck his way through the caverns, searching. Eyeing the familiar chest, he grabbed a pickaxe and pried off the lock. Inside was a treasure fit for any man wanting to wreak havoc. Filling his satchel with dynamite, Chance only needed to decide how he'd escape the mine.
This cart might come in handy.
Grabbing a shovel, he climbed inside and pulled the brake. The men's faces as they turned toward the noise were hilarious. First confusion, then shock, as Chance popped up wielding a shovel, smacking one man. He spun around to catch the other. Chance rode the cart until it came to a stop, and then he disappeared into the night. Making camp a safe distance away, he laid under the stars waiting for morning, both scared and excited for what awaited him back at Chase and Friends Ranch.
Well, I'd be a little scared too, but it's family Chance, and you're needed.